a feel-good Friday. Full slate of games. Let's roll. Kansas City taking one step further towards a three-peat. DeAndre Hopkins officially a Chief on the field yesterday wearing number 8 in honor of Kobe Bryant. The Chiefs have had a need at wide receiver since Rashee Rice suffered a right knee injury week 4 that required season-ending surgery. The team lost Marquise Hollywood-Brown to a shoulder injury in the preseason, and Juju Smith-Schuster suffered a hamstring last week. DeAndre,
I think I've done a lot, all the accolades that I can accomplish as far as personal. So I think, just playing meaningful football in January is, what's left on the list.
Morning. Hello again, everybody. I'll get right to it. But Cam, great to have you with us. We haven't been on TV together, so welcome to the team. Love that we have you and excited to do this.
Can I just make a statement?
Yeah, sure.
I find it very funny that both Cam and Stephen A. decided to not come to the studio on the day they knew I was going to be here and dressed like this.
You?
But I get it, though.
First of all, it's nice to see you with one color instead of 4. That's number one. number two, I mean, that big-ass RC emblem, everybody know who you are. I mean, it does look nice. But you are RC. You are Ryan Clark. Everybody know who you are, bro.
You cannot talk about 4 colors longest Cam's on the show. You can't talk about 4 colors, 4 patterns, for a style of outfits.
Listen,
my dog wear them all at one time.
Bring it. And L. Duncan, we all know none of us look better than you, and we know we don't look better than Molly, so you know how Molly's going to be. Yeah, I'm going to throw Molly into the mix, too. We ain't got nothing on y'all. We just talk about the fellas. But that big-ass RC emblem, RC, I like it.
Let's go. Consistently clean.
You know we know who you are, right? You know we know who you are. You know that, right?
The people need to know.
The people know. Everybody knows
the
RC
Hunger
right
Games
now.
on this show, and he's proven it.
Let's roll.
Stephen A., are the Chiefs or Ravens scarier right now?
I'm still going to say the Chiefs. When you think about Patrick Mahomes and what he brings to the table, when you think about their defense and how they have the potential to neutralize the running game that the Baltimore Ravens will throw at you or anybody else for that matter, when you look at the greatest quarterback in the game today, Travis Kelce isn't having the greatest year, but he's still T. Kelce. He's still that dude, okay? And then you go out there after winning a Super Bowl when you had receivers dropping passes left and right. They dropped about 44 last year. They led the NFL. This year they've been dropping some as well. Obviously, you've got a whole bunch of dudes injured as well, Pacheco, Rice, and others. And to go out there and to get somebody like D-Hop and knowing what he's capable of bringing to the table, and Patrick Mahomes is the dude that's throwing you the football, so you got a reliable receiver out there to throw the ball to. I definitely think because of the collection of assets they have available to her. Andy Reid calling plays, D-Hop catching passes, Patrick Mahomes throwing them, having a reliable, experienced weapon like a Travis Kelce, knowing that you still got Kareem Hunt in there now that Pacheco has been out and what have you. And then you have that defense, which is nothing short of elite, and you got Spagnuolo patrolling that defensive side of the ball. I just think that, from that standpoint, the Chiefs still have to be viewed as a scarier team.
Not true, Stephen A. Smith. I'm telling you right now, if you have not learned anything in the last couple of weeks, Lamar Jackson is playing possessed. Possessed like the great gods have touched him as they have. And when I look at the Baltimore Ravens, they are as a complete unit as I've ever seen them play. 2019, yeah, that was a scary team. 2023, yeah, that was a scary team. 2024 is even more of a scarier team, and knowing that, you don't think Lamar Jackson has circled any opportunity with playing Patrick Mahomes. Stephen A., he ain't come here to play, nor did I come to play with you. I'm taking the Ravens.
Well, listen, Cam kind of laid out why exactly I think it is the Chiefs. The Ravens are a complete team. The Chiefs have completely underwhelmed in many, many ways. Something looks off with Patrick Mahomes. He's got more interceptions than he's got touchdowns. A third of his passes are either to the line of scrimmage or behind it. His 230 passing yards per game would be the absolute worst of his career if it continued this way. And his QBR is 10 points worse right now than it was last year, which was a career worst. And what's their record, Ryan Clark?
They're undefeated.
And what's their record, Molly Karam?
Undefeated.
They are undefeated. They are 6-0, and they haven't even begun to tap into the potential that lies there in the passing game. The bright spot here has been that they're averaging about 129 rushing yards per game, which would be the best mark in the Andy Reid tenure in Kansas City. But that's what's so scary. I think D-Hop is definitely going to help them. They'll help with some of the intermediate stuff. But at the same time, it feels like they're kind of trying to see if lightning can strike 3 times, right? They've already had, in the past 2 years, 2 midseason trades with Kadarius Toney and Mecole Hardman. Both of those proved dividends. They both had touchdowns in the respective Super Bowls. But at this point in his career, you want to add DeAndre Hopkins for depth. You don't necessarily want to add him to be your #1 receiver. I do think Xavier Worthy can potentially get there, but right now he is a low-volume, high-scoring type of guy, right? That is why the Chiefs are so scary. They're not playing very well, and they have yet to lose a game.
Yeah, so it's such a nuanced conversation, which makes this hard. I'm picking the Ravens as the scarier team. Because right now, if you take away history, right, and you take away the things that we knew before 2024, Lamar Jackson is the best player alive, right? The best player living is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is doing things with this football team that we've never seen Lamar Jackson do, and he's the 2-time MVP. He's the reigning MVP, and the player that's playing this year has never worn number 8 for the Baltimore Ravens. And with that said, it still doesn't matter until the playoffs.
Right.
We could say everything great we want to say about Lamar Jackson. We know that he's the best player on the field. We know that what he can do above the X's and O's with his legs is like nothing we've ever seen before. And we also know that he is improving as a passer, and he and Todd Monken have a telepathy with each other that makes them understand exactly what they want to do each and every snap. And even with that, it's going to come down to what he does when standing across from Patrick Mahomes. The one negative for Lamar Jackson this year is with 2 wide open receivers, Isaiah Likely and Zay Flowers, in week 1 that he had to hit in the red zone. He missed them both. And when he missed them both, the man standing on the other side of the field from him was Patrick Mahomes.
Leading the league with a passer rating of 118, second in QBR with 74.4. We see the electrifying plays that he's able to put out there. We know he's feeding off of Derrick Henry to some degree as well, and vice versa, which is a beautiful thing because it's a team sport. That's what you want to see in the NFL. But here's the bottom line. Cam, the man is 1-5 when he's faced against Patrick Mahomes. We just going to ignore that? We just going to ignore that?
No.
That's what we're going to do? Go ahead. Floor's yours.
I'm looking at a question that says, which team is scarier right now? Stop chasing ghosts here, ladies and gentlemen. L, you just said Xavier Worthy could be a #1 receiver over D-Hop. What are we talking about here?
I said at some point. Yes, at some point.
Okay.
He's a rookie. Yeah,
please,
at some point. He could be.
This is what I'm saying about Hopkins. He's not a gadget receiver. He's not the receiver that you send in motion and go here and do that we've seen the Chiefs have. The Xavier Worthys of the world, the Mecole Hardmans of the world. We've seen it happen all the time. But when I'm looking at Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, they have already identified who they are. They're bullies. We know that about Baltimore. They've been bullies since Ray Lewis was playing with them, since RC was going against them. At the end of the day, I'm looking at a question that says, which team is scarier right now? Everybody keeps giving Patrick Mahomes passes, and granted, what he's been able to do over his career has been nothing short of greatness, and the greatest that it is. But we're talking about right now. If we start the tape from 2024 to right now, it is the Baltimore Ravens, Stephen A. So don't give me no 1-5 record in the playoffs.
Okay,
we're not talking about the playoffs.
Let me come back.
We're talking about right now.
That's fair. So let's talk about right now. Last time I checked, Cam, defense gets played on the NFL. Am I correct? It ain't just about offense. Who's got the better defense? Have you seen Kansas City's defense this year? Have you seen them this year? Have you seen what they've been able to do? Have you seen how opportunistic they have been? Have you seen how elite they have been? And by the way, they're the reigning defending 2-time Super Bowl champions. So let's not ignore that, knowing that everybody's going to bring their A game. That defense has showed up. With Patrick Mahomes looking subpar. We know that ain't going to last. It's Patrick Mahomes that we're talking about here. So we're looking at Travis Kelce that we're talking about here. Andy Reid's play calling, which we're talking about here. And then you add D-Hop to the mix. And when you talk about scary, I get to look at them collectively and say to myself, as scary as Baltimore is, they have come up short, which dissipates the level of fear that they may inflict upon you, particularly come playoff time, because they haven't gotten it done yet. Whereas with the Kansas City Chiefs, they standing tall with 2 Super Bowl titles in the last 2 years and 3 in the last 4. What am I missing?
Which one is more unsettling, Cam? The monster you know or the one that you don't? We know what the Ravens do. We know what they do particularly well, and man, they do it well.
No.
But stop me if you've heard this before. The Ravens racking up stats, running all over everybody, and potentially, if we see Kansas City have some blemishes, heading towards a number 1 overall seed and home field advantage in the playoffs. How is that? How's that?
And you know what?
What does that look like since?
And like the hard part about this is we're going off the fact that Patrick Mahomes just gets it done.
Sure.
Right? Even last year when you watch that team down the stretch, think about the Christmas Day game when they lose to the Las Vegas Raiders and Jack Jones is running by Patrick Mahomes, giving them the side eye on a pick six, right? At that point, you're like, this team can't do it. And then they just find a way. And what we've seen from the current Kansas City Chiefs is the rest of the team gets Patrick Mahomes to the party, and then he takes over the dance floor when it counts most. But whether it was LeBron James, whether it was Michael Jordan, they all had these starts where we were like, there are these unbelievable talents, and they weren't champions until they were. What I'm saying is, this is the year that Lamar Jackson becomes the champion. This is the year that Lamar Jackson...
Didn't we say that last year, though, RC? Didn't we say that last year?
They were positioned last year to do it.
But here's the other piece of it is, too, though. Last year, the defense was better, right? The defense was better last year, and Lamar started to play great toward the end of the season. He wasn't this animal. Lamar wasn't the animal that every time I watched him walk on the field right now, I know what it's going to be. And it's happening in a different way. He's picking you apart however he wants to. If I want to run it, I'm going to run it. If I want to throw it, I'm going to throw it. If I'm going to work the intermediate part of the field, that's what I'm going to do. If I'm going to go through my progressions, that's how it will happen. By the way, I can give it to Derrick Henry, and at 250, he can get up to 22 miles per hour. I know, y'all. We've seen Patrick Mahomes do it over and over again. Patrick Mahomes is actually more of the bad man than Stephen A. ever tried to make Aaron Rodgers. But Lamar Jackson ain't got to win 3 in 1 year. He just has to win 1. And when I watch this team right now, if I'm preparing to play either one of these teams, I'm more comfortable that I'm going to be in the game with Kansas City and I got to just find a way to win at the end than I am walking into Baltimore knowing that they might blow my doors off because I can't stop them.
Go ahead, Cam.
We're ignoring the question. Which team is scarier now, the Chiefs or the Ravens? Patrick Mahomes has not played half of how Lamar Jackson has played. The thing about when I look at the Baltimore Ravens, I'm saying they're undefeated because of obvious other situations. It's not been because of Patrick Mahomes here. And we have not ever said that in his tenure in the NFL. Let's call a spade a spade. Yes, his career is better. Yes, his accolades is better. But 2024, if I'm judging off of that, I'm going with Lamar. Lamar's supporting cast has been invited to the party, and they showed up, and they're showing out the field that Lamar now has comfort and understanding that, okay, let me give these guys an opportunity to make plays. That's my only argument. Now, if y'all want to move the goalposts and y'all want to start saying, okay, performance in this, the performance in that, we're talking about right now.
All right,
and that's all I'm answering my question for.
But that's all you saying. Well, listen up to what I have to say, okay? The word scarier, okay? It can be interpreted in an inordinate amount of ways, okay? A number of ways. When you use the word scarier, I'm able to look at a team and project what I should fear most because of history and what they've done. You're telling me this is what we're seeing from Lamar Jackson now. I'm saying the hell with now. You talking about a chip? You talking about a championship? You talking about what's going to happen come playoff time?
The word scary. You can't say to hell with now if the scarier right now is labeled in the question.
No. Let me say to you why I can say that. I'm looking at scarier right now, and I'm saying with Patrick Mahomes subpar, they're still undefeated. Right. That ain't scary to you?
Yes.
That ain't scary to you?
What?
Cam, you're making the argument of who's the better team right now. Not a single person up here is going to argue that the Chiefs are a better team than the Ravens. Period. It's just it's categorically false. But when you talk about scary, it's everything that Stephen A. just laid out. They're not playing well. And even last year, they were 5-1 at this point, and it was because of Patrick Mahomes' heroics and having to overcome all these drop passes.
And now it's because
and
of
not
their
having a reliable run game. And now it's because of their defense. I think Travis Kelce's sandbagging a little bit. I'm just saying. Like, they don't need him right now, as evident by last year when he turned it on in the postseason. The point is, I'm interpreting Scary as a team that hasn't even come close to their potential and still sits undefeated and still sits in one of the worst divisions
and
from top to
has-
bottom.
I think the other piece of it is this too, though. It's the history of what Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs have been that makes us feel that they can just turn it on. What happens if that's not the case? Because even when we look at the playoffs, when you think about the AFC Championship last year, there were so many pieces of that where I say, if Lamar just does this, if Lamar just tucks the football at this point, if Todd Monken just trusts the run, it wasn't, hey, Kansas City did this until Patrick Mahomes makes the play to MVS, or until we're looking at Travis Kelce and the way that he was able to get open in the first half, and they didn't shut it down until later on in the game. And so, to me, all I'm saying is right now, I believe this iteration of the Baltimore Ravens continues to play this way. And I think even at their best, with the way the roster is constructed, that the Kansas City Chiefs do not beat this team in the playoffs. I think this is Lamar Jackson's year, his year to be the best player in football, his year to hold up the Super Bowl MVP trophy as well.
We're acting like we're not a big toe away from the Chiefs being 6-1 right now. So, or unblemished record, 5-1. I'm sorry, 5-1. We're looking as if Patrick Mahomes did not get outplayed by Lamar Jackson in Week 1. Obviously, RC, you know better than anybody. You have no idea what Week 1's performance is going to look like. Handle the what ifs. That would always be the thing from all coaches. Handle the what ifs. What if injury happens? What if fatigue happens? A lot of things happen. What if a big toe happens in the back of the end zone, which he scored? Okay, cool, boom. He didn't have the wherewithal to keep his feet in. If he makes that catch, if that's a touchdown, we're not talking about the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. So therefore, each week after that, now granted, this is still at the NFL. They did take an L to the Las Vegas Raiders. But at the end of the day, at their best, if we're calling best and best, if the Baltimore Ravens are at their best, and given the circumstances of what the Chiefs have right now, and the Kansas City Chiefs are at their best, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens.
Let me say this.
Does suck that they're undefeated.
We got to go.
And then I got to move on.
We got to go. I just want to say, see my kindness, because Cam is absolutely wrong, and I still let him have the last word. You may continue.
It's so big of you.
You're a saint, Stephen A.
So big of you.